What if I told you that every single YouTube creator makes the exact same 7 mistakes in a predictable order, and that identifying which level you are currently stuck on could be the difference between staying small forever and finally breaking through to the success you've been chasing? Today, I'm going to reveal the 7 deadly levels of YouTube mistakes that are silently killing channels at every stage of growth. And more importantly, show you exactly how to escape each trap before it destroys your momentum completely. Level 1 is what I call the perfectionist prison. And if you're just starting out, there's a 99% chance this is where you are stuck right now. This is where creators spend months or even years preparing to create content instead of actually creating it. They research equipment endlessly, plan elaborate channel strategies, and write detailed scripts for videos they'll never make, and convince themselves that they need to have everything figured out before they press record. You spend 3 hours researching the perfect microphone instead of 30 minutes recording your first video with whatever you have. You redesign your channel art 17 times but never upload a single piece of content. The mistake here isn't wanting quality, it's confusing preparation with progress. What makes this level so dangerous is that it provides the perfect excuse to avoid the one thing that actually matters: putting your work in front of real people and getting real feedback. Every day you spend in preparation mode is a day you're not learning what actually works for your specific audience, in your specific niche, with your specific personality and style. The escape route from level 1 is brutally simple but psychologically difficult. Set a maximum preparation time of 1 week, then start creating regardless of how ready you feel. Your first 10 videos will be terrible, and that's exactly what needs to happen, because terrible videos teach you more than in 1 month of perfect planning teaches you in 1 year. Level 2 is the consistency trap, where creators finally start publishing but become obsessed with maintaining a rigid schedule at the expense of everything else that matters. This usually happens after someone raised that consistency is key to YouTube success, which is true, but they interpret consistency as uploading on the same day every week regardless of quality, preparation, or whether they have anything valuable to say. Consistency trap creators will publish mediocre content just to hit their schedule, even when they know it's not their best work. They'll stress about missing an upload date more than they worry about whether their content is actually helping anyone. They treat their upload schedule like a sacred ritual, believing that YouTube's algorithm will punish them severely for any deviation from their pattern. The real mistake here is prioritizing mechanical consistency over value consistency. Your audience doesn't care if you upload every Tuesday at 3 p.m. if your Tuesday videos are rushed, poorly planned, or obviously created just to fill a slot. They'd rather wait an extra few days for something genuinely useful than get predictable mediocrity on a schedule. Breaking free from level 2 requires shifting your definition of consistency from time-based to value-based. Instead of committing to uploading every Tuesday, commit to only uploading when you have something genuinely worth sharing. This might mean publishing 3 videos 1 week and 0 the next week, but each video will be significantly stronger and more likely to actually grow your channel. Level 3 is analysis paralysis, where creators become so obsessed with studying their analytics that they stop trusting their creative instincts entirely. These creators can tell you their exact average view duration down to the second. They know which thumbnail gets a higher click-through rate by decimal points, and they've A/B tested everything from their intro length to their outro music, but somehow their channel growth has completely stalled. The problem with analysis paralysis is that data can only tell you what happened, not what should happen next. When you become too dependent on analytics, you start making creative decisions based on past performance rather than future potential. You avoid experimenting with new content types because they might perform worse than your proven formats, which means you never discover what could perform even better. Analytics addicts also fall into the trap of over-optimizing for metrics that don't actually drive sustainable growth. They'll sacrifice authentic personality that made their content special in the first place, just to squeeze out a few extra seconds of watch time or slightly higher click-through rate. The irony is that this optimization often makes their content less engaging to real humans, which ultimately hurts the very metrics they're trying to improve. The way out of level 3 is to establish analytics boundaries. Check your numbers once per week maximum. Focus on long-term trends rather than individual video performance. And most importantly, never let the data override your instinct about what your audience actually needs to hear. Level 4 is the shiny object syndrome, where creators consistently chase the latest trends, strategies, and platform features, instead of mastering the fundamentals that actually build lasting success. These creators will pivot their entire content strategy based on a single viral video they saw, completely restructure their channel around a new trend that lasts 3 weeks, or abandon proven content types to jump onto whatever seems to be working for other creators right now. Shiny object syndrome feels like being proactive and staying current, but it's actually a form of creative ADHD that prevents you from building any real momentum in any direction. Every time you chase a new trend, you're essentially starting over from scratch, abandoning all the progress and the audience struts you've built around your previous approach. The deeper issue here is that trend chasing creators never develop their own unique voice or perspective because they are always trying to chase the next trend. They become professional imitators rather than original creators, which means they'll always be one step behind whoever they are copying, and their audience will always see them as a discount version of whoever they are currently trying to be like. Escaping level 4 requires developing what I call a trend immunity. This means having a clear enough vision for your channel that you can evaluate new opportunities against your existing strategy, rather than automatically assuming every new trend is worth pursuing. You can acknowledge trends without being controlled by them. Level 5 is the audience assumption era, where creators think they know exactly what their audience wants without ever actually asking them or paying attention to their actual behavior. These creators will confidently create content based on what they assume their viewers need, ignore comments and feedback that contradicts their assumptions, and wonder why their most carefully planned videos often perform worse than random content they threw together. The most common version of this mistake is creating content for audience you want rather than the audience you actually have. You might want sophisticated, highly educated viewers who appreciate nuanced analysis. So you create complex, detailed content even though your actual audience responds much better to simple, actionable advice delivered in an entertaining way. Another version is assuming your audience's level of knowledge based on your own expertise rather than meeting them where they actually are. Expert creators often make this mistake by skipping fundamental concepts their audience desperately needs because these concepts seem to be basic to the creator. The solution to level 5 is systematic audience research that goes beyond just looking at demographics. You need to read every comment carefully, survey your audience regularly about their biggest challenges and goals, and most importantly, test your assumptions by creating content specifically designed to reveal what your audience actually responds to, rather than what you think they should respond to. Level 6 is the monetization obsession, where creators become so focused on making money from their channel that they compromise everything that made their content valuable in the first place. This usually happens right when your channel starts gaining traction and the creator realizes they could potentially earn significant income from their work. But instead of enhancing their content to deserve more money, they start cramming their existing content with monetization attempts. Monetization obsessed creators will add sponsor segments that feel completely disconnected from their content, promote products that they don't actually use or believe in, and create obvious sales pitch disguised as useful content. Or worse, start withholding their best advice to save it for paid products instead of sharing it freely to build trust and authority. The tragic irony of level 6 is that aggressive monetization usually reduces long-term earning potential because it destroys audience trust and engagement. Viewers can sense when they're being sold to rather than being helped, and they'll start avoiding content from creators who feel more like salespeople rather than educators or entertainers. Breaking free from the monetization obsession requires a fundamental mindset shift. The money should follow the value, not lead it. Focus on creating such consistently valuable content that monetization becomes a natural extension of the relationship that you've built with your audience, rather than the primary goal driving your content decision. Level 7 is the final and most dangerous trap: success syndrome. This is where creators who have achieved significant success become prisoners to their own achievement, afraid to evolve or experiment because they don't want to risk losing what they've built. They keep creating the same type of content that made them successful, even when they are bored with it, even when the audience is clearly ready for something new, and even when they have ideas they're excited about but consider too risky. Success syndrome creators become victims of their own brand, feeling obligated to maintain a personality or content style that no longer reflects with who they are or what they want to create. They'll suppress new ideas because those ideas don't fit their established niche, even though exploring those ideas might lead to even greater success and fulfillment. The most insidious aspect of level 7 is that from the outside, these creators look like they have everything figured out. They have a large audience, steady income, and apparent success, but internally they feel trapped and creatively stagnant. They're scared to rock the boat, even though the boat isn't actually taking them anywhere they want to go anymore. Escaping success syndrome requires what I call strategic creative courage. Escaping success syndrome requires what I call strategic creative courage, the willingness to risk short-term audience confusion or disagreement for long-term creative fulfillment and growth. This might mean a gradual introduction to new content types, being transparent with your audience about your evolution as a creator, or even accepting that some current followers might not follow you into your new creative direction. The most important thing to understand about all 7 levels is that they are not permanent states. They are temporary challenges that every successful creator has worked through. The creators who break through to sustainable success are the ones that recognize which level they are currently stuck in and take deliberate action to move beyond it, rather than staying comfortable in familiar dysfunction. Your current level isn't a judgment of your worth as a creator. It's a simple diagnosis that can guide your next steps. Whether you're stuck in the perfectionist prison or struggling with success syndrome, the path forward always involves the same fundamental principles. Prioritize genuine value creation over everything else, and trust the sustainable growth will follow. The creators who thrive long-term are the ones who view these 7 levels not as failures but as necessary stages of development, each teaching essential lessons that prepare them for the next phase of their creative journey. Which level resonates most with where you are right now? And what's one specific action you could take this week to start moving beyond it?